Hi everyone, I hope you had a great beginning to the week. I hope you had a great full super moon. This reading's a little bit late because I actually banged my head and so had a pretty bad headache for a few days and was a bit out of action. So a little delay to this mid-month reading of a day, but everything comes in its own time. And so, yes, I'm going to do a little quick masculine, feminine, slightly different spread, just a little shorter one. And looking forward to it. So, right, a bit more shuffle. I've given them a very, very thorough shuffle. And let's go. So let's just give them a bit of a go around like that. Oh. Bottom of the deck for this November 2016 mid-month reading is the Eight of Wands. That's interesting because that was on the bottom of the deck. I don't know if you saw it before I did that little extra shuffle around, and then I thought I'd maybe try and, anyway, basically this card wanted to be on the bottom of the deck, and it is the Eight of Wands. It's Cupid's arrow. It was in the weekly reading over on Vimeo. The link will be below. So it's obviously a strong energy for this week. And it is Cupid's arrow, travel, movement, communication of love. Second message that I didn't necessarily pick up and that wasn't coming through me at the weekend and is very present now is the Eight of Wands, communication of love, messages of love, very, very important. Don't be afraid to communicate right now. Do it. But speak from the heart and speak from your intuition. It's also travel and movement, so it's kind of like fly, 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 fly. And I'm hearing fly in love. You fly in love. You be in love. You be in the space of love, and then you fly. Fly in it. Fly to your destiny. So there we go. Right, so I'm going to do 3 cards. I'm going to do the masculine on this side and the feminine on this side. 3 cards. So the first card for the masculine is the Hermit. I'm actually going to go, then I'm going to do first card. I'm going to do it slightly different. First card for the feminine is going to be this one, is Queen of Swords. Interesting. Second card for the masculine is the World. Second card for the feminine is the Empress or Matriarch. Third card for the masculine is the Queen of Wands. Third card for the feminine is the Lovers, which was also in the weekly Vimeo reading. So a couple of reoccurrences, a few reoccurrences here. And then I'm going to do a crowning and a root and an outcome. Okay? Bottom of the deck is the Eight of Wands, as I explained. So slightly different spread this week, or for this little mid-month. Let's just lift them all up a little bit. I wasn't quite sure how this is going to work out, so I just thought I'm going to see which spread, how it comes out. And I quite like this, it's a bit interesting. So, rightio. First card for the masculine is the Hermit. Oh, sorry, I think I said that was the Queen of Swords, but it's the King of Swords. Sorry. King of Swords, first card for the feminine, but anyway, we shall get there in a second. First card for the masculine is the Hermit, and it is looking away out of the spread. So this is reflection inward introspection and a big movement within. So expect the masculine to just, I just kind of need to be alone. And if not, it needs to happen. It's a movement inward to find your own light, to find that star energy that was there for the masculine recently. I think it was that in the, can't remember, one of the recent readings. So it really is about finding your own light. A very big message for this time, collectively, to find your own light, to guide yourself. So the masculine is finding his own light to guide himself right now. And I'm going to go straight on to the second card for him because it's very relevant. It's to find his own world. I love these two cards together. It's going within to find your own light, to enlighten yourself to your own world and your own freedom. I love it when there's a bit of naked, a bit of nudity in the cards, because for me it just indicates freedom. And, you know, openness, authenticity. And this world card's really that you have, the world is your oyster, the four edges of the world are there for you. And there is, you know, it's like the four winds, you know, there's north, south, east, west, there's the animal world. There's everything at your fingertips, and there's a floaty, free, beautiful kind of buoyant energy in there too. And you're kind of safe in your own victory here. And it's a very powerful card to come after or together with this Hermit card, because it really is about looking inward, and you can see to illuminate your world, your unique world, your unique take on the world. So there's a big movement in for this time, for this last couple of weeks in November maybe, for the masculine to move in and find his own place in the world outside from other influences. Big message there. Two major arcana cards, a big message. Let's see what's going on with the feminine. The feminine starts off with the King of Swords. So this is kind of mental aspects and thinking and logic, and it's quite a masculine energy. So I feel like for the feminine, there's a strong kind of masculine, quite harsh sometimes, and it's a logic and it's a knowing and it's a kind of mental energy. And he doesn't really sit well with that Hermit. So it's like the message is, for the feminine, is kind of like, don't try and tell anybody really. I just feel like if you try and tell anybody the way it is right now, it's not going to go down too well. So it's very important that you communicate from the heart and not from the head if you want to make any leeway with anybody right now. The King of Swords, it's good to know, but I just feel like if you try to kind of push anything, it's not really going to work at the moment. There isn't fertile ground for it to be received, but it is that she's finding her own clarity for herself and her own real logic that kind of works. I feel like in this connection, she's kind of got her own logic that works. And it's really interesting that logic kind of helps her with this, which is longevity, it's the future, it's family, it's the matriarch, it's the mother energy, it's the Empress energy for me. Because the Empress has lots of roses around her, and there are roses all over this card too. It's generations, it's the divine feminine. It's the divine feminine energy being passed on through generations. And it's a very feminine energy. And it's really interesting that it comes after that king. So First, what I'm getting is for the feminine, there's a lot of balance right now. There's quite a strong masculine energy with the King of Swords. There's a strong feminine energy with this, my matriarch card. This is the Centenary Rider-Waite deck. This is an extra piece of artwork that comes with this deck that I use and interpret. And then the third card the feminine has is the Lovers, and that's balance again. Look at that symmetry in that card, and it is the Lovers, it is togetherness, it is unitedness, it is beautiful. I do feel like that maybe towards the end of the month, there is a big opportunity for togetherness. I'm just getting though, that doesn't mean it's not available now, it is. But definitely the masculine needs his space, so don't try and take the space away from the masculine. And the feminine definitely is quite staunch in her views and her understanding and her logic at the moment, and maybe won't be swayed. So it's kind of like, don't try and dissuade anybody really. In those two energies, they're quite strong right where they are. But there is something here to do with this feminine that emerges from that masculine logic. It is, I understand the logic of this, and maybe it's the logic of how we make this work long term. But I do get that maybe it's the feminine is to keep it to herself, or she's keeping it to herself. The understanding, the logical understanding of the way things work. But it does help, really, there's this moving into balance. This moving into balance and this moving into togetherness, this masculine and feminine working together. There's a lot of that going on with the feminine. And then with the masculine, there's quite a lot of feminine energy, quite a lot of receptive energy. It's still the same. This has really been going on for this month, and it's still the same. There's a vulnerability to the masculine. That's also why he's going within. I like the masculine going within rather than being kind of defensive and attacking, because he can do that sometimes. Still be aware of that. That might happen. But this third energy here for the masculine is the Queen of Wands. She's a feminine energy. She's a fun energy. She's a free energy. I'm getting to mention the fire sign female. So it's, if there's a fire sign female around, she's strong. She's strong for the masculine. If it's not a fire sign female, it doesn't necessarily need to be a fire sign female. But it's more that aspect, that kind of fiery, passionate, extrovert, fun-loving, free, but powerful and regal at the same time, the Queen of Wands energy. So, and I do actually feel like that this is a person. This is a person. It doesn't actually feel like this is like an archetypal or a character that the masculine is kind of embodying or kind of being. It feels like this is actually a person. And that the person, or that it's like that Queen of Wands energy is going to help the masculine out. And that's really useful for everybody to know. But there is a lovely together energy. So if you're watching this, these are relevant to you, these messages, and there's a really strong sense of togetherness here. That it's really, again, and this message keeps coming through a lot and very strongly recently in these readings, and it is that even though it may seem as though we have opposing things going on, there's always the opportunity to be in the same place together, to be in love. Love is where we join together. Love is where we unite. So even though it might look like that hermit is looking away and not interested in the logic and the thinking and the ideas of this King of Swords over here, even though he might be a bit upside down as well, that doesn't mean that we can't hang out, the words that I've got, because it's just to be sympathetic to the other in their position. So, and not taking it too seriously if the feminine is too staunch in her ideas, or the masculine seems as though he's not interested or disinterested or only interested in himself. There's a message for some masculine energy here. It's meditation, and or just stilling oneself. Maybe even just this card I'm going to pull at the end from my Journey of Love deck. A little stilling of the mind and the body will be helpful. Because I do feel like this illumination brewing there with the masculine. Crowning is the Page of Pentacles. This is very interesting. These are ideas about how we can make things work practically. There is a financial focus to the Page of Pentacles as well. A financial, career, material focus. And it's about ideas. It's an immature energy. That doesn't mean it's not a powerful energy. I mean, it's just that it's a fledgling energy. It's a baby energy. It's being created. It's in the kind of idea form. So it's, how do we make this work practically? It's just a little shift. We may need to shift perspective, but it feels good. It feels like the feminine's having some ideas and some logic that works in terms of this long term. We want this long term solid connection. She's working it out. And together there is this kind of, we can do this, how do we do this brewing? Beginning to brew, beginning to boil, beginning to bubble. So, it's great. We do need to be sensitive to one another, and we may not necessarily agree, but that's okay. We can't agree all the time. That would be extremely boring. At the root is, coming up a lot, the Nine of Pentacles. So, what creates this flowering of that Page of Pentacles here and how we can make it work is this sense of abundance and contentedness and springtime and brightness and flow and the earth and nature. So get out into nature to find that sense of abundance. It's material abundance too, but it doesn't have to be. It's the sense that there is enough is very, very important. That sense that there's enough here is what enables us to bloom, enables us to grow. No matter where it looks as though we are at, we are abundant and it is enough. Love is always available. And from that energy, then grows the practicality. So there's this idea, oh, it's all very good and well to say that it's all here and I don't need anything more, but I do. And I hear you. But there is always the ability to find that sense of enough. And if you can't find it here with this connection, with the people in your life, with your love, if you're struggling there, go outside, go into the earth, go to water if it's around. But also I'm getting, this is kind of quite solid ground. It's greenery, it's trees. It's even like, I'm getting like grow your own produce. It's like get digging. I know it's a bit of a strange time of year in the northern hemisphere anyway, but it's kind of like get growing, or there's this vine here. This vine, it's new life. Just seeing that vine there. So it's this verdant, green abundance of things that are beautiful, and this kind of springtime. Everything's here and everything's growing and everything's growing and new. And that's just the energy for everything to spring from. And the practical things can emerge and will emerge from that energy. A big, big message there. And there it is. The outcome. The star. The star in there. Little star. So, the masculine finds... Oh, it's so beautiful. I just love this. I love this little spread here. I love that it all kind of circulates around this beautiful central star. It's optimism. It's healing. It's balance. It's water, as I said. Again, there's that nudity, that nakedness, that freedom, that authenticity. Know who you are and be it. It's the massive message here. It feels like it's a strong message for and from the masculine. To be who I really am. That's really what's going on right now. I do feel like for a lot of masculine, that will feel like they want to go within. They need to go within to find his star. He needs to go in to find that light that's his. And really kind of be free in it. There is a little message. It's like, be careful of this feminine, because the feminine, he can be a bit controlling sometimes, that King of Swords. So it's like, again, also don't let the mental working out of things, don't ever hold on to that too tightly. And always remember to dream the dream, to wish upon a star, to shoot for the stars, to have the dream come true. This is all about focusing on what you truly, truly, truly want. And I want to say that if you think you want something and you don't have it right now, it's because most probably you're not shooting high enough. So a lot of people think, oh, I want them right now, but you don't. They don't. That's why they don't have them in your life. If you want something in your life, and normally it's because you're not shooting high enough. So this is an interesting message about unconditional love. So we look at unconditional love and we say, oh, I love you the way you are. Of course you do. But that doesn't mean I don't have a preference for the way that you are being. This is a very interesting message here. So a lot of people say that I love him the way that he is. But maybe you don't love him when he's going within. Or maybe you don't want him to. Or if there's some kind of separation going on and he's just kind of out over here, not connected to you. You don't want to be with somebody that doesn't want to be with you. Or that doesn't believe that they want to be with you. So trying to kid yourself that that's true is not good. So it's good for you to be aware of the fact that you don't want him to not want to be with you. And then have a look at that and see whether that's true or not, and be with that energy. So it's like, is it true that he doesn't want you? How do you know? Or doesn't even matter. I mean, because basically if you've got the perception that he doesn't want you, then you just, it's more the perception that you don't want. But you've got to be aware of that. You can't be like, oh, I accept him and I love him the way that he is. I hope this is making sense. It's not unconditionally loving. It's not very loving to yourself to not be authentic with where you're at and be like, actually, it's okay. This behavior is fine by me. If it's not. If that makes sense. Sometimes it's better for you, if it isn't true that you don't want that behavior, you've got to hold on to that dream and go, no, I want it another way. I hope this is making sense, but it's very, very important that you do hold on to what you truly, 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 truly desire, its highest form, for yourself, for your connection, for the world. And if you don't have what you want, it's because you're not truly aware of it. And sometimes it's just not quite baked yet. There is an aspect of that. Sometimes it's just that there's something other something else that needs to happen. And I'll tell you something, and this happens a lot with people that are highly, highly, highly conscious. And the more highly conscious you are and the more loving you are, I'll tell you what happens. You get used. And so the way life works, the way I understand it, the way I feel into it in the kind of quantum way, is that there's like this big jigsaw puzzle, and it's always moving and changing, and it always fits. And basically everything that ever happens in every single living creature and every kind of thing ever fits in and constantly moves and changes. But sometimes, I mean, it's so intricate. Sometimes you just turn your head to the left and you save somebody's life. You stop somebody. It impacts the quantum field, the field of life. This is the way I feel into it. It's so delicate. So sometimes when you're highly, highly conscious, you get used. It's like, no, you need to do this thing over here for a while, and this doesn't need to happen to do this first. But it could be something far, 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 far away and disconnected from you. So you do also just have to get with life. And often there is something more for you to do. There's something better for you to do right now in that moment in terms of that whole big jigsaw. And that is also an aspect. And that's why you should never really be impatient. That's why you should always really be in the moment and seek how there's enough here. Because A, there always is. And B, this idea that there's this future place that we need to get to can stop us from realizing the things that we need to know on the way there. So just a few little things there. But that star card is a very strong outcome, and it's dreams coming true, it's wishes coming true, it's stuff happening. Again, like I said, end of the month, I feel like there's some really interesting things going on there. Don't be afraid to communicate, but communicate from love. It's also sexual attraction, that the Eight of Wands a bit, and there's the Lovers here, which I do tend to read quite blatantly or quite, directly at the moment. So there's a lot of sexual energy going on. There's been a lot of sexual energy flying around. A lot. So just be aware of that. 2, don't get too carried away maybe. Don't forget to connect up the heart with the action. And this card I'm going to pull is the Breaking, number 65, beautiful artwork there. This is from Alana Fairchild, Rasuli, Richard Cohn, Journey of Love, Oracle. So I'll read that for us now. Number 65, The Breaking, as a little bit of an oracle message for this mid-month, November 2016 reading. You are breaking apart. You might not understand it at all. There is not so much to be understood, but the simplicity doesn't mean it is easy to endure. You may worry that you are going too far, that you may not recover or ever come back together again. But what can you do? Can you hold back from the divine love that calls you, that lures you to becoming all that you are, to remembering your divine nature? Well, you could try, but for what purpose? Temporary rest before the storm at best. So take the rest if you need it, then dive into the storm. Let yourself be broken-hearted by the divine, so that you can become your truth, become all that you are meant to be. It is better to have the heart broken so that it grows, than to be broken-hearted by thinking that you must protect yourself from love. This oracle brings compassionate guidance, that no matter what sadness or anger, despair or frustration you may feel, you are being pulled apart, not by dark forces, but by the loving embrace of the divine, as it strips you of that which would keep you from your divine realization. Let go and break. It is going to be the making of you. And the poem at the end. So maybe close your eyes, take a deep breath. It's short. And it's called Love. Love is a special closeness that sings from my heart, that warms my days and night, that feels good, that makes me smile, that makes me glad to be alive. And so this does back up an energy that I was feeling with that Eight of Wands there. And it's kind of that, it's just go for it. Go for it, be in the now. Take all this into account, and it's important that you do take all of this into account, everything that came up here. But I do believe there's a really, really strong message here, and I do believe I'm being used to deliver this very, very strong message now. And that is to just go for it. There's a big opportunity here, and people need to be coming together in love and uniting in love in every single possible form. Take that action. But if you break. Let it happen. You know, it's not such a big deal. It's kind of that phrase, you know, don't cry over spilt milk. It's just break. You'll still be there. You'll be more. You will be more. You'll find love in the spaces in between. Just let yourself break. If you break 1,000,000 times, you break 1,000,000 times. Then you're just absolutely fireproof in your burning, passionate love. Break wide open every single day. Fear nothing. Nothing to fear but fear itself. Take the action. Take the steps. Let it go. Take all this into account. I'm getting that very strongly. Take all this into account. But don't be afraid to take that strong action. Take the leap. Make the journey. Communicate. Whatever you need to do. Do it. Take the leap. Break before you go. Break so that you're free. Break free. You know, that Marianne Williamson quote, which I'll try and find, when we find our own light, we invite others to do the same. This really is the theme here. Break into your light. Shine it. Don't be afraid. Find that light. If you'd like to support me and these readings, and you haven't yet purchased the weekly Vimeo, there are more messages in there. So go and take a look at that and support me. Otherwise, loads and loads of love. It was a pleasure to do this mid-month reading. I love you all so very much. You mean a great deal to me. I love being used in this way. I love it. Thank you for supporting me here. Thank you for being part of my Vimeo crew as well. Those that are, if you haven't, give it a go. I was really blown away actually by the people that have been contacting me that are finding that they are making massive shifts in their life, massive shifts, just from the weekly Vimeo readings. And for me, it's because they do these readings. They hold the space open to just connect back in, to that flow, to that truth, to that freedom that I call love. And if you make a commitment to it, and it's like anything, it's like a muscle, and it really is like you go to the gym once a week. It makes a difference after a while. It does, and I'm blown away. I just get guided and I just do things, and I make sure that I support myself in these readings, and the work. That's all I consider myself to do, and I just get guided. But it blows me away sometimes. It blows me away every day. I'm so blessed by the impact that this has, but we do have to make a commitment. We do have to make those commitments. We do. Daily commitments. And it's a very, very strong message, It isn't enough just to sit back, we do need to take action. We do need to commit. And this is a big message here. All right then. Loads and loads of love. And I shall see you again on Sunday with some of the weekly messages, so check that out. I'm going to be traveling, so hopefully it won't be late. I'm going to try and get it up. Maybe it might actually be a little bit earlier. But yes, I'm moving around at the moment. Lots of love again, and I shall stop talking and see you again very soon. Link to the Vimeo is below. Lots of love.